So my name is Abdi Satufa with Guidance Residential here in the state of Washington. I will talk about guidance residential and Islamic finance in general, and inshallah. So I will start with the Quran ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي تخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. This is from Quran chapter 2, verse 275. Those who take unlawful interest will stand before God on the day of judgment. Are those whose mind has been corrupted by the influence of shaitan. They say that commerce is just like interest, but God has made commerce lawful and has forbidden interest. So the goal for guidance residential is to make Muslim Americans a homeowner, achieve the American dream the halal way. There's a huge need out there. There's a lot of Muslims qualified to purchase a home, has been renting for a long time. So alhamdulillah, guidance residential came up with the solution to be compliant with the US law and Islamic law as well. So amazingly, actually, other Abrahamic faiths like Judaism and Christianity have the same view on riba. Sadly, is not practiced today. Founding father of this country as well had a negative view of usury or riba. For example, John Adams says there are two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One is by sword, the other is by date. Thomas Jefferson said, I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than a standing army. So inshallah, having said that, a little bit about riba, guidance residential was established in 1999 with multi-million-dollar research and development that involved 6 of the world leading Islamic scholars on Islamic finance. We launched in 2002 in 3 states. Alhamdulillah, in 2009, when the market was crashing, when the financial market was crashing, guidance residential, actually, we had one of our best year. We were recognized by a lot of medias. In 2015, AMJA, Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, they actually gave us endorsements. After 1 year research, they say guidance residential is the only Islamic finance that is actually approved by AMJA. Today, we are more than 30 states. Alhamdulillah. We have more than $5 billion Islamic financing, and about 24,000 Muslim Americans became homeowners through our program. So guidance residential is a part of a much larger corporation called Capital Guidance, which is owned by Dr. Mohammed Hamour. He's the sole owner of the whole organization. So it was founded 50 years ago, Capital Guidance, by families from Middle East. Today we're based in DC, the Capital Guidance. And Capital Guidance actually have offices, 77 offices in 27 countries, having different kind of business sectors. I don't want to spend a lot of time on Capital Guidance. I will talk about how guidance residential works. Today we are in more than 30 states, alhamdulillah. And our program is actually a declining balance co-ownership contract, which I'll come to into detail and explain to you how it works. So this is the state that we actually licensed. Myself, I'm licensed in Washington and Oregon, but we have about 30 states that guidance operates. So we're the only Islamic finance company actually that has independent Sharia board who supervise our transactions. The very famous one is Dr. Justice Muhammad Taqi Usmani. He's a justice in Pakistan. He's a person actually that's called the father of Islamic finance. And in this year, actually, he was the #1 Muslim influential around the world, Muhammad Taqi Usmani. He actually wrote our contract. He's the chairman of our Sharia board. Also, Muhammad Taqi Usmani actually is the chairman of the IOFI. IOFI is accounting and auditing organization of Islamic finance. This is an international non-profit organization that actually audits all Islamic finance, Islamic banking around the world. So Muhammad Taqi Usmani is the chairman of Guidance Sharia Board, and also he's the chairman of a lot of banks, Islamic banks around the world. Our fatwas are available for public, online available, inshallah. So AMJA, as I mentioned earlier, AMJA actually is Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, based in Texas. They issue fatwas on this Islamic issue, whether it's Islamic home financing, whether it's student loan, whether it's a marriage. Every year they issue fatwa. Inshallah, on the website, I'll be very happy to share with you their website that clearly states that guidance residential is the only Islamic finance that is truly Sharia compliant in the United States. So having said that about guidance, our communities know that riba is haram, but there's a lot of misunderstanding even what is riba itself. So riba or interest is a profit made from lending or borrowing transaction. In Islam, money has no intrinsic value. Money as a means of exchange is not acceptable in Islam. So what is permissible in Islam? Loan without profit or charity. Trading is permissible. Buying and selling is permissible. So in the United States, there's three the methods of Islamic financing: murabaha, which is purchase and resale; ijara, lease to own; or musharaka, the most famous one, or partnership, which is the guidance residential practices. Musharaka itself has two parts, which is asset ownership, shirkatul milk; business venture, shirkatul aqd. Currently, guidance residential, we only do in shirkatul milk, which is asset ownership. The goal is here for guidance residential to make Muslim Americans homeowners, not as a business. So musharaka compared to murabaha and ijara has the benefits. So the major benefits, alhamdulillah, is approved by independent Sharia board in the United States, where other Islamic financing methods are not actually approved in the United States for mortgage. It's a no recourse commitment. In case of default or guidance residential would not pursue the home buyer for any recourse. It means that if the home buyer defaulted, guidance would not pursue them for any judgment. This is the benefit of musharaka. Another benefit is no prepayment penalty. If the home buyer or the customer want to pay in advance, guidance residential will not charge any penalty for that. Let's say if the contract was 30 years and the home buyer wanted to buy the house in 5 years, they can do so with no any restriction whatsoever. The other one, very important clause, is shared risk. The only Islamic finance or any banking in the United States that is guidance residential. In case of natural disaster or eminent domain, guidance residential will share the risk of monetary loss with the home buyer. Late payments as well is fixed to $50. It will never compound like conventional. Let's say if the home buyer is late for 4 months, we just pay $200 and we'll be back to the contract. With conventional, what happens is every month the interest rates compound, and the home buyer doesn't even know how much he owns by the time he actually forecloses on the property, inshallah. So our contract is called declining balance co-ownership, which means, I will give you an example. Let's say the house was $100,000. So the homeowner was, let's say, 20,000 down payments, which is 20%, right? The homeowner would own 20%, guidance would own 80%. So every month our share declines, the homeowner's share increases until he becomes a person owner, will be out. I will go into detail, inshallah, explain what that detail. So I have a diagram here explaining the relationship between the home buyer and guidance, and the relationship between a bank and a buyer. Here, with guidance residential, the buyer and guidance residential agrees on a co-ownership contract. You're the buyer, we are the co-owner. Here, the mortgage loan, you're the buyer, the bank is a lender, and you agree on interest rates. You borrow money from the bank, buy the house. Your ownership is 100% here, since actually you borrowed money from the bank and bought it. With guidance, your ownership is your down payment. Let's say this example, 30% down payment will buy you 30% share in the house. 70% share is owned by guidance, which means 70% of the risk is owned by guidance residential. In Islam, you cannot sell something without taking risk. You cannot make a profit unless you incur risk. Ownership bring a risk. Banks here, they have no ownership whatsoever in the house. You own the house. Anything that comes with the house is your problem. You pay back the loan. As the time goes, your share goes up with guidance residential. Every month when you make a payment, part of the payment will go to guidance as a profit since we own the property, and part of it goes to the house to make the payment every month to increase your share. So eventually you become 100% owner here with guidance. Here with the loan contract, you pay off the bank, the loan plus interest, you eventually pay off the loan. That's what makes it different, inshallah. So here, guidance residential, to summarize it, is a co-ownership contract. Banks, no, they don't do a co-ownership. Other Islamic bank, no, they don't do co-ownership. Our contract is riba-free. Since there is no any loan transaction, there is no riba. Guidance residential, of course, there is no riba. Other banks, yes, of course. And other Islamic banks as well, yes, with some conditions. No recourse commitment, again, yes, guidance residential doesn't have a no recourse commitment. In case of default, we don't come after you. Late payments are kept with guidance, yes. With banks, it's going to compound. Risk sharing, again, this is the only clause that's done by guidance residential. No prepayment penalty. If you want to own the house in advance, you can do so with no restriction whatsoever. Guidance residential is not affiliated with any bank. We're not related to a bank. We're not affiliated with bank. We don't bring money from the bank. We're actually a Muslim-owned organization. Our contract is an equity partnership, yes. Banks is a loan transaction. Endorsed by AMJA, yes, guidance is endorsed by AMJA. Other banks are not. I will summarize it for you again. Guidance residential is a co-ownership contract where the home buyer and guidance residential buy the property together, and every month when the home buyer makes a payment, will buy a share of them from guidance residential. There's no riba involved since there is no loan transaction. It's a no-recourse commitment again. Late payments will never compound like a conventional loan. We have, alhamdulillah, independent Sharia board who supervise our contract, which is led by Muhammad Taqi Usmani. Alhamdulillah, we endorsed by AMJA in 2015. Risk sharing as well in case of natural disaster, any loss, guidance will share risk with the home buyer. No prepayment penalty. If you want to buy the house in advance, you can do that. We're not affiliated with any bank. Most other Islamic banks, actually, they are owned by a bank. They're subsidiary of a bank, and they open Islamic finance window. Guidance is different. Alhamdulillah, that's why we have about 90% of the market share of Islamic finance. So I will give you a scheduled payment example, how guidance residential works. This is a scenario. This is a while ago. The rates were higher then. The rates are down right now. For example, this one, $100,000 contract amount for 15 years term with 180 payments. The profit rate was 3.75. So with that, this is how it's structured. For example, the home buyer on 20% when it started. Every month they make a payment, your share goes up here. From 20%, 21%, 24, 28, until you become 100% owner. Our balance declines every month. Our profits, every time your share goes up, your ownership increases, our profit declines as well from 300, 311, 290, 228, until it's zero. This is how it's structured, inshallah. So when your share goes up, our profit declines. So this is, inshallah, just I want to summarize it for you in one slide here. Sorry about that. I hope you can see this. So this is what makes guidance residential different to conventional or as Islamic finance. I want to summarize it for you with this one. So co-ownership contract, there is no other Islamic finance or bank that's co-ownership contract. Alhamdulillah, guidance is a Sharia compliant contract. It's called co-ownership or musharaka al-mutanafasa. Risk sharing, yes. Riba free, since there is no loan, there is no riba involved. No prepayment penalty with guidance. Late payments, there is no late payments compounded like conventional bank. No recourse commitment. Independent Sharia board, alhamdulillah, and endorsed by AMJA, which actually is available on their website. I will share with you the link later on. So we provide a 30 years, 20 and 15 years contract, purchase contract, or refinance. If you have a currently with a conventional bank, you can refinance to guidance residential as well. So the process is, the first step, Abdurrahman talked about it a little bit, but I want to summarize it here. The first step is to pre-qualify, means we just get a basic information about your credit score, your income, and your down payments. Then you provide the documents, you get a pre-approval. If you want to go out and put an offer with Abdurrahman to put an offer on a house, for the seller to take you seriously, you need to have a pre-approval letter. Pre-approval means we have to take a complete application, get your document, your tax return, W-2s, pay stubs, and get you pre-approved. Once you have a pre-approval, it's as good as a cash offer. Then once you have approval, you start searching for home, you put an offer. Then, as Abdurrahman talked about it earlier, you maintain your financial profile until you close on the house. Then within 30 days, we can close for you and get you a key, inshallah. So the first step is, of course, to get a pre-qualification, pre-approval. You connect with me. Alhamdulillah, I'm one of the representatives here in Washington State. You connect with me, we'll start the process and see how much you could qualify. So there are three major criteria for us to get you approved. One, we look at your income. You have to be employed or self-employed for the last 2 years. We look at your year-to-date pay stub. We look at your debt to income, means like all your liabilities divided by your income, including the new mortgage that you're buying. And a credit report, minimum credit report, guidance residential, we accepted 620. And of course, the bank statements, your bank has to be, your money, the down payment money has to be in account at least for 30 days seasoned. And the minimum down payment with guidance residential, we have a 3% with first-time home buyer program. We also have introduced actually a new program. If someone can qualify for it, up to 2,500 credits towards the down payment. These are the documents required. We just want to go up over it. We look at 30 days pay stub, W-2s, tax return last 2 years, 2 months bank statement or stocks. And if you're self-employed, we need a complete bank tax return with the complete schedules. I don't want to go over the home benefit of home ownership, inshallah. So this is again Muhammad Taqi Usmani. This is a journalist. He came. Muhammad Taqi Usmani, actually the most influential Muslim around the world this in 2020. He's the chairman of our contract. He wrote our contract as well. This is my presentation, inshallah. If you have any question, this is our office here in Takwala. If you have any question, inshallah, we'll take it from there, inshallah. Thank you so much.